Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Terran versus Protoss, where apparently our Terran player is already sending out an SCV towards what seems to be the other side of the map. So spawning here in the top right hand corner of Jag Alley, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have none other than Dream. His opponent in the opposite corner with the red Protoss probes. Is he going to be able to figure out that there's going to be a proxy on his side of the map? That's the real question. We are looking at none other than Zest's main nexus. Alrighty, so he's going to go for a probe scout after planting down the gateway inside of the main base. He is going to look around. Okay. The question is, how far will he go, right? Like, most of the time we see these probes just moving straight across the map. He is looking around, so apparently he's got the feeling that maybe there's gonna be a little bit of cheekiness right here from the Terran player. And I think he is gonna find that, yeah, he's gonna find that barracks here eventually. The only problem is that I think it's gonna already be, I mean, it should be too late, right? Pretty sure that's gonna finish up. So there's not a lot of randomness in StarCraft 2. There's not a lot of RNG. Where the SCV goes is completely random. You literally have no control over that at all. Like, you can cancel and then try again and then hope it scoots to the other side, which is exactly what the Terran here is doing. Oh my god, he gets it. Oh, I thought he wasn't gonna be in time. Now, I don't know what that means, but I can guess. Most of the time, it seems like any Korean character can be used as some sort of emoji. So now he's gonna send another SCV across the map. He already sent that one. Probably in anticipation of him losing that very first SCV, but... Alright, it's gonna finish here eventually, but that's a big problem. So, the problem is, right, this obviously delays the Reaper, which is a big deal. You don't really want that, but it also delays the factory. And obviously, after that, it delays the starport. It basically delays everything that you can do as a Terran player when your very first barracks is denied, even if it's just for, like, what, like 10-15 seconds there? Not the end of the world, but certainly a really nice start right here for Zest. Zest apparently feels confident that he's going to be able to defend against his Reaper just fine. You can see that that Stalker, I mean, he's just going to Chrono Boost it out. Normally, this one would spawn quite a bit after the Reaper is inside of the main base. This time around, I mean, it is still going to spawn a little bit later, but at a really decent time here, all things considered. So he's feeling confident enough to apparently now also go for that low ground expo. He's not going to really take any damage here from this Reaper shenanigans. Nicely done right here by Zest. I'm a big fan of that scouting. Now, at the same time, is that the same probe? I like to believe it is. I don't know. Probably. He also sent one of those workers towards his opponent's third or fourth base and plants down a gateway over there. Now, this in turn now gets scouted by Dream, who figured out, okay, my opponent is trying to go for some speedy warpins right here on my side of the map. Problem is, I mean, there's a Hellion here. There's no Cyclone coming up or anything along those lines. Hellions and Reapers take a very long time to actually kill any of this. He could go for a backup pylon, yeah. Oh, Dream at this point does not know that the probe is still hiding there in the top left-hand corner of the third. So, Stalkers are now moving across. There's a follow-up for additional gateways as well, so Zest is planning on putting on some 3-gate aggression. This actually really sucks right here for Dream, man. If he knew that the probe was there, this wasn't actually going to be an issue at all. He probably assumes that this aggression now is pretty much held. I mean, obviously, he knows that there's probably still going to be a couple of gateways warping in units here, but those units are going to have to move across the map, right? Not quite the case. Now, another one of those Reapers actually was coming in from the back, and... well, it means that these Stalkers actually will be picked off. So nice little bit of defense right there by Dream. But right now, he sees the warp in finish. He realizes, okay, there is still a backup probe. We don't mind. Ugh. My god, if that one was like a little bit there to the left, this would have been totally fine here for Dream. Already a very dicey game. Now, how is he going to defend against this? High-level TVP is pretty crazy. There's so little, there's so, like, many little moves done that could just end the game right away. It's actually absurd. Now, I love this as well. Going for the Adepts right here, because obviously they can easily regroup together with those Stalkers. They don't have to, like, walk past the Widow Mine. Still, though, there's Widow Mines everywhere. It's a minefield out there, so I think that this eventually will be held. But obviously, this is the strangest way of ever denying mining over here, but I guess it's effective. Apparently, one Hellion managed to just drive into the main base right there of the Protoss player. There is a shield battery. I think eventually that one will probably be killed. At the same time, no reinforcing units show up. One of those Widow Mines detonated, so that one can get picked off as well because it doesn't have the Widowmine upgrade yet. A little bit of repairing right there on that bunker, but it will also fall. And with that, the natural of the Terran player is gone. Now, that one Hellion over there, though, ended up killing 8 probes. That's actually an insane amount of damage right there. But if he's going to lose the orbital command, obviously, that's going to be a disaster. And indeed, it does go down. Crazy action-packed first 5 minutes here of the game. Really, really liking it. And yeah, one of the reasons, obviously, why losing a CC is a big problem is, well, first off, you lose a lot of economy. But secondly, they also, indeed, provide a ton of supply. So 3 supply depots right now as a follow-up together with another CC. This is a dire situation right now here for the Terran player. And obviously, while this is all going on, Zest is happily macroing off of his 2 bases. Alrighty, so the siege tank production obviously has begun, which is really helpful because siege tanks provide a lot of value here in defending your bases. So as long as he can wiggle himself into a natural expansion here eventually, I think he's still going to be able to potentially come back into this game, but this certainly is a very significant advantage right now for Zest. Now, Protoss does have a hard time in these scenarios to actually close the game out because of that defender's advantage, right? Obviously, siege tanks, absolutely phenomenal. There's a couple ways in which you can deal with the siege tanks, but all of them are a little bit dicey. Looks like Immortals are going to be the follow-up right now from Zest. Would not be surprised at all to see him adding on a 3rd base here very, very shortly. He's going to go for the charge upgrade here. He knows very well that there's Metavex out, so there might be some aggression, but... Or there could be Metavex out, rather. There might be some aggression, but... Should be A-okay for now. Alright, so we've arrived at a bit of a lull in the game. You can see the Widow Mines and then also those siege tanks just simply getting into a good position, so the Stalkers could be pushed back if they decide to get in. Now, obviously, you always have to worry about Blink Stalkers into the main base. So, you gotta be careful with where you actually position your stuff. Here we go, though. There's a puppy on the map. You know, one of my favorite things about these dogs, these critters that are all over this map? Most of the critters in StarCraft 2 are targetable, but the dogs are not. So you can't click on them. Pretty sure, and I don't know how I know this, but I'm pretty sure if you were to hypothetically use Psionic Storm, for example, on them, or any sort of splash damage, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to finish that line of thought. You get what I'm trying to say, though. Ooh, apparently there was... Hold up, can I read? Sorry, go. Okay. Apparently there was a pause. Anyway, Dark Shrine is a follow-up. Here's the 2 Widow Mines instead of the main base. Let me try and get the text out of the screen. Good defense right here, though. Obviously, this is still a lot of lost mining time here. A couple of probes end up going down. 4 is still actually a pretty respectable amount there, all things considered. That pylon, for some reason, is still up. One of the biggest things right there, though, is that little Widowmine shenanigans seems to have now pulled back this entire force. With the Prism out, though, I think that this is certainly a moment where the Protoss could get a little bit cheeky once again and go for some continued harassment. Now, he doesn't really need to, right? Like, one of the golden rules in StarCraft 2 is when you're ahead, try to get more ahead. Obviously, you want to put on some pressure, but you don't want to commit too much if you're a full base up on your opponent. Dream, obviously, is still in a bit of a weird spot. He does finish up a missile turret here as the first Dark Templar enters the natural. A little bit annoying here. Ooh, okay, the 2 Immortals actually get loaded into the Prism, so I guess they are going to be, indeed, sent towards the high ground there, right? You can see the vision right there of Zest's Observer. A couple of Marines, though, are ready to intercept this as well, but I think this is going to be fine. That siege tank should go down very rapidly. Nicely done. Nicely done. At the same time, Stalkers and Zealots at the front. Dark Templar now also once again joins in the fray. That guy has a lot of DPS. A couple of them actually walk around right now. They're trying to see if they can pick up that siege tank, but it's not going to happen. Ooh. Nicely done. Okay. Yeah, so I actually like this idea of moving back right now if you're Zest. It might be very tempting in this scenario to think, oh my god, I did so much damage earlier. I killed a siege tank. He's got barely any defenses. Let's go. But generally speaking, I mean, when you're ahead in StarCraft 2, you're better off just expanding and trying to build on that economy and then winning at a later stage of the game, right? I mean, pushing into this, obviously, if he could have won with it, he probably would have won. He probably would have done so, but it's a gamble. It's a gamble. Marine Marauder Medivac siege tank is very scary. Nice pickup there. Should be able to get out of there, right? No, what? What was that, dude? You were doing so well. Alrighty then. I guess he accidentally army hotkeyed or something along those lines. I think he was trying to get that Prism to join in with the main army. Nice little bit of juggling there, and then, you know, he did what I would have done. So he's trying to see if he can intercept those medevacs, but the medevacs are already long gone. Alrighty, so the follow-up here, that actually was a big loss though. That's a lot of supply gone right there in one Warp Prism. You need to make another Warp Prism. You ideally want to keep those Immortals alive as well, because they're super helpful when it comes to dealing with Marauders and Siege Tanks and all the rest of it. That was a big loss. Anyways, there's a Robo Bay now as a follow-up, so Zest is going to go into the Colossus tech. Might even be going for a 4th base here very shortly now that the 3rd is pretty much fully saturated. You can see supply-wise though, Terran has been doing really well here for quite some time already. Terran's super scary when it comes to defending. These units just simply trade so very well, but even though we had a very action-packed first 5 minutes of this match, now all of a sudden it's a lot more passive. Okay. Try to see if he gets something done there. Not quite gonna happen. Prism in the meantime on the right-hand side. Makes a lot of sense. There is a missile turret over there though, but looks like there should be a second missile turret over here, I think. That one's gonna be shot away for at least a little bit. Nice little bit of harassment over here. Picks up another Widow Mine or two, but yeah, this is all gonna be defended just fine. Alrighty. I love this actually. I was wondering why the 2 Stalkers were here earlier, but he actually prepared those in advance, knowing very well that there might be a Viking trying to chase down that Prism. Alright, so, Terran's all nice and turtled up now. Terran's actually even taken a bit of a supply lead here, which is not something that I think a lot of people expected. Let's have a look at the upgrades. So, for now, actually, upgrades are really not that significant. We do see double Forge right now as a follow-up here. There's a single engineering bay here, but a second one is coming up together with a Ghost Academy. Would have loved to actually see Zest maybe get the upgrades a little bit quicker. Try to push that advantage as well. Like, there's a couple of different ways in which you can win a game of StarCraft. Obviously, Army is the obvious one. Secondly, obviously, Economy, right? But upgrades is another one that is... like, at least when I first started playing StarCraft 2, I remember I wasn't really valuing upgrades. Like, Evo Chamber upgrades or you know, Forge upgrades or Engineering Bay upgrades. I wasn't really valuing them as highly as they deserve. It's a massive deal. Like, if you actually look at engagements where upgrades finish up, it's such a big difference. Anyways, once again, a couple Stalkers apparently feeling brave. Hello. Blink, blink, blink. Okay. Does get out of there. Thought for a second he wasn't paying attention now. Nice sandwich right here by Dream, though. And that, ooh, that is all you need to crawl yourself back into this game. He was already doing a fantastic job at that. Now all of a sudden you get a couple of those units in for free. Widowmine apparently at the same time also managed to get some kills in. So 8 probes end up going down here in total. Yeah, I think some over in the bottom right-hand corner and then some over here in this base as well. So, yeah, Dream once again looking high and mighty over here. Imagine if that one bunker, or sorry, that one barracks over here at the beginning of the game finished up. Like, he would have never actually been slowed down at any point here. Even though this looked like a really good game here by Zest so far, and obviously he's been playing pretty well, Dream has looked really impressive here. I think a lot of Terran players would have not been able to, like, even grab their natural expansion, right? When they were stuck on one base. He's now expanding towards a 4th. Now, this Widow Mine over here was never picked up. Luckily, there Zest realized it, and he put a probe right on top of it. That way you can kind of mess with the AI a little bit. Smart move right there by the Protoss player. He still needs to get rid of that, though. Like, if you forget about it, it's a little bit annoying. Photon Cannon is going to finish up, so I guess that will get rid of that. At the same time, once again, another Medivac right there, full of Widow Mines on the left-hand side. And Map Sensor Tower gets picked off right here by the Long Boys. There's 4 of them right now. There are... Okay, I was going to say, there's no High Templar there inside of that Prism. Didn't notice him switching into that tech yet. Ooh, Prism once again ends up falling, man. That's another full Prism right there, full of units. Archon actually from the low ground does get microed back. Nicely done. The Colossi dealing a lot of damage, though. Even though the Prism is gone, he's not really able to micro these units all too much. This is still very, very nice. At the same time, that Widow Mine drop over there in the natural ends up killing 14 probes. Oh, this is going from bad to worse right now for Zest, man. Losing that second Prism over there for basically free, and then at the same time, brilliant multitasking right there by Dream. Apparently, he found the APM to both micro this battle, and at the very least, you know, stand his ground and fight, while also then, you know, using those Widow Mines effectively. Really nicely done right there by the Terran player. And once more, he's climbing ahead in that supply count. +2/+2 has finished up right now. Most of the time, this makes for a good attacking opportunity if you're the Terran player. Usually, 2/2 kind of finishes up right around the same time as you're maxed out, for example. I mean, if it's like a more standard or like a more defensive game. In this particular case, obviously, he's nowhere close to that. So I actually don't mind the idea at all of him just going into 3-3 here instead. And just, you know, maxing out and then going for a push. That'd be pretty neat. He needs to start up the upgrade, though. There we go. Nicely done. Yeah, so really impressive game right here by Dream. Okay, so here's the next weapon of choice here. Zest has tried multiple weapons, from Stalkers to Zealots and obviously the Colossus and the Dark Templar, right? Now he's switching into Disruptors. I like the idea of Disruptors a lot. The 3 Colossi are still over here. So that's good. That's pretty good. You don't want to have too many of them. When you make too many of them, I mean, Marauders and Vikings are just simply going to pick them up pretty easily. Colossi these days, very good when it comes to killing light units in particular. Back in the day, they were pretty good against Marauders as well, and they're still decent, but... yeah, I like the idea of now switching into, you know, Disruptors on those Robo facilities instead, because the Disruptors obviously have a ton of potential as well. There's already Ghosts out, so Ghost obviously fantastic with their EMP ability. It also automatically kind of shuts down a lot of that High Templar play. I mean, it doesn't shut it down, but I think Disruptors are just a more reliable decision right now here for the Protoss player. Assuming you can actually micro the units, right? I have played many Disruptors in my day. Let's just say that since they do friendly fire as well, I have also blown up many of my own Zealots. I don't want to talk about it. It makes me sad, okay? So two Medivacs right here on the left-hand side of the map. Big Terran army here moving towards the right, although it's definitely not the entirety of the Terran force. There's a lot of siege tanks that are left behind. So this is mostly like a little hit squad, I think, trying to create some distraction to open up the front door. Or I guess the back door. Ooh, nice pick up there. Nice pick up there. Good micro by both players. Disruptor at the same time goes in over there. Looks like the Ghost does land another EMP. Ooh, dude, that's what I mean. When you try to, like, shoot one of those basketballs from the back. Oh, well, that one was beautiful, but every once in a while it goes absolutely awful. Okay, you cannot get that. Like, when you have your Stalkers moving back and your Disruptor moving down, and then you want to, like, shoot one of those Purification Novas, it's very difficult to judge at what point you gotta activate the ability. You know, because you don't want to use it right after you blinked away with your Stalkers, right? Like, it's a little bit tricky. You could sometimes end up playing yourself. But I guess the only way at which you can be great with Disruptors, right? Like, that's one of those moves that you just simply have to practice. You have to practice. You will mess it up many, many, many times. You will blow up your own units a lot. I actually think Disruptors are one of the few units in StarCraft 2 that haven't quite been, like... I don't want to say figured out, right? Because obviously people are very good with them. But I feel like there's still, like, more to be gained with Disruptors. Like, I've never seen, you know, one player shine more with Disruptors than others. You know, it seems like all the top-level guys are pretty good with it. But, yeah. I feel like there's still some value to be gained. Anyhow, another base starts up over here. For some reason, he's avoiding that base on the left-hand side entirely. I guess this one is a little bit easier. Okay. Apparently that nipped the tippy toes right there of that Ghost. Oof, my god. Good splits once again. A lot of this is going on, by the way. Hold up. Ah, okay. So, while this little army here is moving forward, I backed up like 10-15 seconds. Didn't quite realize it, but just a handful of Marines over here target fire down a bunch of those probes, and they just kill pretty much an entire mineral line worth. Medevac does fall, though, and at the same time, those Marines are taken care of as well, and that's while this, you know, aggression over here is happening. The Advanced Ballistics upgrade here is coming up as well for the Liberators. I like it a lot. I wonder if this is going to force a Skytools transition now from this the Protoss player here when he maxes out. He's already going into the flyer upgrade, so I think he probably will. And the multitasking, man, like, you can only look, believe it or not, these pro gamers, they can only look at one screen at one time. So even though, right, he's doing a good job microing this battle over here, if you don't pay attention, you just lose the entire army there with one Purification Nova. One of the most frustrating things as a Terran player to have to deal with. Like, you think you're doing a phenomenal job multitasking, trying to just, you know, play as fast as you possibly can, and then you find yourself all of a sudden with 20 supply down on the right-hand side of the map. Anyhow, this is apparently the opportunity that Zest was waiting for. He wants to see at the very least if he can push forward. Once again, good Purification Nova over there. Siege tank falls. But yeah, there's the ranged upgrade done. So these Liberators right now have way more range on their like liberation zones, right? Like, they're very good at just simply controlling space at this point, and it's difficult to get to those units without blinking and committing to it hardcore. And obviously, if you blink forward there, your Stalkers might get picked off. So I like this idea here a lot from the Protoss player, going into additional Stargates here instead. And he will probably go into either Tempest or, I guess, Carriers. We'll see here in just a little bit. Fleet Beacon is finishing up. Let's see, what's the next weapon of choice here? Okay, it's gonna be Carriers. So Carriers especially benefit from flyer upgrades. So when you think about it, most of the units in the game get like +1 damage from one of those upgrades. Obviously Carriers, since they have little interceptor ships, and those are the ones that do the fighting, they effectively get +8 damage for every single one of these air upgrades. So it makes sense that he's already getting the upgrades going right here in those cybernetic scores. Problem is though, those capital ships are extremely expensive. And while once you get them out, they're really good. Oh my god, the speed circles are actually an entirely different thing to add into the mix as well. Oh god, I didn't even consider that yet. Those speed circles on the disruptors are actually crazy. Anyways, the Carriers are very expensive is what I was trying to get at. If you commit to them too early and you don't have the money to actually, you know, make units at the same time, you can fall behind very easily. The thing is, if you don't switch into it, you might just get wrecked right here, a bunch of Liberators and then siege tanks from the back. I feel like just giving up this base is the right choice, man. He's trying to keep it alive, but it is gonna end up falling here eventually. Top left-hand corner, by the way, not been taken yet by the Terran player. Once again, Purification Novas do get sent forward. 3 Carriers now are spawning, though. There's plenty of Vikings at this point. Well, there's only 5 actually, but I guess they're going to be able to get rid of those flying units relatively easily. Takes a while before these guys have their interceptor ships, so after they actually get built, it takes like 4.5 years. Yeah, he's just trying to buy time, right? He's now even getting some Tempest as well, which is a bit of a desperation move. Siege tank apparently can shoot from that location into the bottom right-hand corner as well. And right now that's opening up the door for Dream to potentially go in this direction. Maybe he needs to use some medevacs to get over there, but apparently he's feeling brave enough. And this now actually creates a really dire scenario right here for the Protoss. Being down 2 bases at this point is definitely not what you're looking for. I guess you got a recall, right? Unless the Terran units don't look for you. Alright. If you can hide for long enough, I guess that's fine. Zest attempted going for like a bit of a flyby over there. The Tempest finishes, but I think it might get picked off. Nope, looks like the Vikings decide to turn back around. Now this is the moment that the Protoss player decides to commit. Does he have enough to push back this Terran army right now? There's a lot of reinforcements coming in right now. Half the siege tanks were not sieged. A lot of Liberators are pointing the wrong way. I think that Dream may have gotten a little bit over-eager here as he gets pushed back by this Protoss army. I love that. Might be very tempting to try and chase down the units there with those Stalkers, but he decides to blink back instead and uses the air units to clean up most of those leftover straggling units instead. Command center gets cancelled here. This is apparently the moment where Dream decides to, yeah, put his back against the wall, right? Like, he needs to be careful. He needs that safety of those planetary fortresses. Ooh. Zest, is he gonna expend though? Like, where are you gonna spend your money at this point? Because I feel like, can he win with this push? Maybe he can, actually. Well, he thinks he can certainly try. He's not making anything anymore. He's got very little mining. A lot of SCVs apparently are now being thrown by water balloons. High Templar don't actually deal damage, as you probably know. Like, they do a little bit, but very little in total. Alrighty. This is like, all of these units seem to be in red HP, right? They have full shields, but this is not that strong of a Protoss army when you actually look at it objectively. There's a lot of units that can get picked off by like 1 or 2 siege tank shells. The SCVs in the meantime, they have run towards the top left-hand corner. Almost seems like we have a similar approach right now, but Protoss can't really split off their units as easily. He could maybe like send a bunch of those air units towards the top left-hand corners through like the left-hand side, through hugging like the left side of the map, but this is scary. Yeah, the Viking count is growing. There's a Thor now in the mix as well. Oh, dude, I think you need to go home, Zest. These units are so low. Like, this is like one bad engagement from like losing 100 army supply, you know what I mean? It's... Alright, he's gonna try. Stalkers actually get underneath. Maybe that's a little over-eager right here by Dream, who wants to apparently split off some of the units. Now, there's a few High Templar joining in the fray as well. We did get the Psionic Storm upgrade. This is not a planetary fortress here, so nice decision here by Zest to stay after all. This is why he's the pro gamer. Alrighty. He did once again secure the base in the bottom right, so that's something. Ooh. Okay. Now, we've seen Dream in this scenario before earlier in this match, right? He managed to do a phenomenal job defending. Oh. He's looking for the juicy hit right there on those SCVs. Not quite gonna happen. There's no Archons or you know, really a whole lot of air to ground or ground to air anymore other than the Stalkers. I guess Storm is pretty decent as well, so he's gonna be able to grab some of those units and get them back to safety. Alright. So it looks like Protoss is leaving. He decides to go back towards a big Stalker warp in here instead. No probes have been added on here for quite some time. Let's see. Where's Dream gonna go from here? So he secured the base here once again on the right-hand side. He needs to try and keep that one alive because he's running out of money. He's got very little mining here in general, right? Like the 3rd and the 4th obviously are running low, so he needs another base to get some form of income. The same can be said for Zest though. I mean, effectively this is now both players on like 1.5 base eco, but with very high-tech units. Not a scenario that we see all too often. It's a bit of an awkward one. Like, do you decide to go for low-tier units or high-tier units instead? Siege tank will get picked off. Nice purification novas there. That Liberator doing a very good job zoning. Oh, nice catch there as well, actually, by Dream. So he killed the Disruptor there before the Purification Nova could finish, and that means the SCVs stay alive. Dream is very scary defensively, man. Like, super patient with his approach, right? Not really committing too much, not really, you know, overstepping his boundaries. Feels like he's been hanging on by a thread here for a while, but I mean, this Protoss army also is so low. It can be done with one good Purification Nova or one good Storm, right? Oh, well, there's one good Storm. Maybe not the money one, but still pretty good. Maybe a couple Zealots towards the left-hand side of the map would not be a bad idea either. Try and, you know, force the Terran's attention elsewhere. Obviously, Terran, though, is sending all of their reinforcement units over here, right? So that's another prism that will end up going down. Okay, here we go. Taking a couple of those Liberator hits right here are those Zealots. Purification Novas once again being utilized. Vikings try to move forward. Where are the Storms? There's a good Storm going down on most of the Vikings. Vikings are running dangerously low right now on health. That said, though, it looks like they're going to be able to finish off most of the capital ships. Only one Colossus right now remains, but most importantly, Zest has broken this position, and with that, obviously, has slowed down the Terran economy a lot while still mining a full base himself in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, good fight there. Good fight there for the Protoss player. Still needs to be so careful, though. This is kind of unnecessary. Like, he doesn't need to go up this ramp. He wants to, I understand. In the meantime, though, top left-hand corner being reacquired right now by Dream. He's realizing, wait a second, if you're all the way over here, I am just gonna go and take the top left-hand corner once more. Very impressive control here by both players, but it looks like Zest is starting to inch ahead. I mean, he needs to get over there, though. Like, these mules do not mess around, dude. Those mules are gonna get a ton of income really, really quickly. Now, that's a free Thor. Nicely done. How much is there actually left for the Terran player? There is an army of 1 Marauder and 8 Marines and 2 Liberators. Like, there's very, very little. Protoss also doesn't have that much, but he doesn't realize that at this point, right? I would have loved to see a couple of Zealots making their way over there, man. There's, like, nothing going on here other than a couple of SCVs apparently, I don't know, dancing. They're following around another SCV. So Dream has about 7 units, and he decides to put most of those inside of a ship. I actually like this a lot. It's a gamble, but you need to get something done, right? So he scouts that a new Nexus here is acquired. He doesn't know where the base is at, but he can guess where it should be located. Then he finds the expansion here in the bottom right-hand corner. In the meantime, though, while this medevac here is flying over towards the bottom right-hand corner, we do see a War Prism moving in towards the top left as well. It's filled with 2 High Templar. Here come the money storms, baby! 17 of those bad boys end up going down. Make it 18. There it is. I mean, apparently the Prism didn't want to live anymore. The 2 High Templar had finished their duties. That's a lot of workers end up going down. And honestly, it feels like Dream right now, I mean, he is in a little bit of trouble, right? I mean, this kind of feels like he's dead at this point. Maybe not quite, but He has a lot of Marines, but like... There's still a Colossus remaining. There's still 4 High Templar. Okay. Obviously, if Zest gives him a bunch of time, this is gonna be something he can come back from. It is difficult, though, to actually figure out if you can close this sort of thing out. Once again, the Liberator right there. Siege is up. Another base has been acquired, by the way. So now all of a sudden, Dream. I mean, this is like him going all in as far as economy goes. He decides to commit to 2 expansions. I like it a lot. It's a dangerous idea, but if you're going to come back, I think this is the way to do it. Goes back to the classic Marine Marauder Medivac. Does he have enough to come back? Got good upgrades, obviously, on those bio units. Okay, this is the fight, though, that I think Zest wants to take. Good Storm there. Good Disruptor. Grabs whatever he can right now. You want to be scared. You want to be careful though, right? Because obviously the concave is nice, but I feel like that was almost an engagement where Dream was gonna get a perfect 360. Like the concave is a nice geometrical shape, but what about a circle? Circles are pretty good as well when it comes to optimizing the surface area there. You can see Zest though. He's not entirely sure. Like, obviously, we have full vision here. I feel like going after this planetary is a bit of a gamble. Does he have enough, though, to, at the same time, go after the Terran units as well? Planetary does fall. That planetary is mostly just a positional one. At the same time, though, here's the reinforcing Terran units coming in from the left-hand side. Massive storms end up going down on those bad boys. This Colossus over here has now picked up 34 kills. It might end up going down. No, it stays alive. There it is. 37 kills. To 1 laser giraffe's name. And I think with that, I mean, unless it gets killed by... No! Don't let it... It got killed by a freaking missile turret, dude! That guy has seen multiple wars! That's the saddest Colossus ever. That guy just died right before obtaining the victory. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.